You must be following PSL, Pakistan Super League. And if I ask you who is the best player in the Super League, so you will say the Babar Azam is the best player in the Super League. And how you can say that? Because you have the data of Babar Azam, and we have mentioned here the average of Babar Azam is 39.46. And Babar Azam is at the top of all the players because of having the highest average. What does average mean? And how we can find average? Let's first discuss how do we find average, and then we will discuss how we use it in our daily lives. Okay, let's start this. Okay, for example, here I have a data set which has 5 observations, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? And what is mean? Mean is simply the quotient of the sum and the number of values in the data. First, what you need to do, first you need to find the sum of all observations. You will find what is the sum of all the observations we have in the data set. 5 plus 6 equals 11, 11 plus 2 equals 13, and 13 plus 5 equals 18, and 18 plus 7 equals 25. Right? And now we have to divide 25, which is the sum, with the number of values we have in this data. How many values do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we have to divide 25, which is the sum, with 5. So we will get 5, which is the mean of this data set. So for finding the mean, you can simply add up all the values of the data, and then you will divide the sum with the number of values you have in the data set. Right? So this is mean. Let's next discuss what is median. Median is simply a middle value of the data set. And to find the middle value, you have to first arrange the data in ascending or descending order so that you can easily find the middle value. If you look at this data, and if I ask you which is the middle value, you probably will say the 2 is the middle value. Right? But 2 is not the middle value. We have to first arrange this data in ascending or descending order. Then we can find the middle value appropriately. Let's do this. Okay, I have mentioned the ranks of these numbers. This number is 1, that means it is smallest. Then we have 5, then we have another 5, then we have 6, and then we have 7. So out of these 5 observations, definitely we will know that the third value will be the middle value of the data. So when you will arrange, it will be arranged something like this. If I do in front of you, you can see I have arranged this data in ascending order. So if I arrange the data in ascending order, now I can easily pick the middle value of the data. Right? So 5 is the middle in this data, because if I exclude 2 observations or values from here and 2 values from here, so 5 is in the middle of this data. So the 5 is the median. So median is the simply middle value of the data, but first make sure your data is in order, either ascending or descending order. Right? Okay, now let's discuss the third one, which is the mod. And what is mod? To find the mod, we simply look for the value which is repeating the most. The most repeated value of data is known as mod. If you look at this data, 5 is appearing a total of 2 times, 1 and 2. 6 1 time, 2 1 time, and 7 is also 1 time. That means 5 is the value which is occurring the most, 2 times. So that means the mod of this data should be 5. So I hope now you have understood all of these 3 measures: mean, median and mod. Mean is simply the quotient of sum and the number of observation. Median is the middle value of the data set, and mod is the most repeated value of the data set. Why do we find any mean, median or mod? You must have understood that if you have data to describe data or to get one value that represent the whole data, we have to either find mean or median or mode. We can find any one of these. Then why we are learning to find these three? Why don't we learn only one of them? Okay, let me discuss this as well. Starting with the mode. What if I only know how mode is found? Will I stuck somewhere in my life to finding the representative value of data? Well, mode is very simple. We just look for the most repeated value. Like for example, if I just change one value of the data, for example, this 5 is 10. This is not 5. Then we do not have any value for mode. Why? Because now we do not have any repeated value in the data, and for this we cannot find mode. We have to go for median or mean. We could also have another case where mode will be complicated. For example, instead of this 2, if I had 5, what happened? Again you can see that we have two repeated values. 5 is also repeating 2 times and 6 is also repeating 2 times. So which should be the mode? You must be thinking that okay, we can take 2 modes. Yes, you can, but look for the thing that you are going for the one representative value of the whole data, and by mode you are getting 2 values. So this will be difficult for you. Okay, let's see and learn only mean, not median and mode. So whether mean will be sufficient for all of us. Let's see what happens when I only change one value to a greater extent. For example, if I have one value which is 100, so what will happen? Oh, you can see that the value of mean has increased significantly because now we have the sum which is very larger than before, and we still have same number of observation, so the denominator or of the quotient will be the same and the sum will be much higher than before. Because of this, our mean has got a very large value, and you must say that 23.6 is not representing this data, because most of the values of this data is around 5 or 6 or 2, so mean could not be that larger. But because of this one very high or very low value, your mean will be disturbed. So that's why when you have any such cases, the mean value will not be effectively representing the data values, right? So mean is not sufficient in this case. Okay, that means the median is sufficient because median is not disturbed with very large values. For example, if you have 100 or 7, you can see that median is not changed very easily because median is the middle value which is still the same. Right? Well, that's great. Okay, we will learn only median. Can we do this? Well, no, because if you have, this is the data set with only 5 values. Suppose you have the very large data set, so it will be difficult for you to arrange them in ascending or descending order. If you have 1000 values in your data, so it is very difficult to arrange them in order. Rather, the sum is very simple to them because you can go one by one and you can add them up. But arranging them is very difficult for you, right? So median is also not sufficient. What does it mean? It means we should know all of these three, mean, median and mode, so that we can find everything which is related to our data. I would like to again show you what happens if I have the larger value. You can see that the mean is very large, whereas the median and mode is still representing the data. But if we have another large value, you can see that the mean is much higher, and now we do not have any repeated value, so we do not have the value of mode. So still mean is very reluctant. So I hope now you have understood that when do we find mean, when do we find median, and why do we find? If everybody asks you that why are you learning all of these three, you can easily let them know. In the last of this video, I would like to ask you a challenge question. But before the challenge question, I would give you one more example from the real life, right? Okay, now here we are looking for the application of average, which is indeed mean. Average and mean are same. Okay, here you can see that the average of Babar Azam is 39.46. What does it mean? Simply it means that we can expect from Babar Azam to score 39.39 or 40 or 35, somewhere very closer to 39, and we can expect Babar Azam will score around 39 in the next match. To make the prediction, this is the very representative value of the Babar Azam's data, and we can make the prediction in the future. For example, 39.81 is the average of Tamim Iqbal from Lahore Qalandar. So we can expect that the Tamim Iqbal will score 37 in the next match. Maybe he will score the less or maybe more, but expectedly he will score somewhere between 39.8. So this is how, but somewhere you can see that the data how mean is misleading. If you look at the data of Ingram, you can see that the average of Ingram is 31.38. So that means we can expect that the Ingram will score around 30 or 35 or 25 in the next match, right? We can make the prediction, or we can think about Ingram like this. But if you look at the highest score of Ingram is 127. So if you think that the total score Ingram has made so far is 816, whereas only in one match he has scored a 127, right? That means because of this one match his average has increased so much. So maybe this figure can be misleading. So we have to go for median or mod for having the better precision of our prediction about Ingram, right? So I hope now it's time for a challenge. Okay, here you have your challenge question. Now let's see who will solve this. In the question, you simply need to create a data set of 10 values. You can take any value you want, and what is the condition that the data should has the same value for mean, median and mod, right? If you look at this my data set, so I have same mean, median and mod values. So you need to do the same, but you need to take 10 observation and make sure that you do not repeat only one observation in the total data set, right? So please do mention in your answer with your data set with 10 observation in the comments of this video below. Thank you so much.